Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Right, let's get stuck in. The Colombia tour has begun, and I've got to start with the words, what a flaming cheek Harry has got. What, more than usual. I have said this before, that when they go on preaching about online behaviour, Christopher Boozy, who starred on your Netflix docuseries, of which you had full editorial control. Have you got any idea, Harry, the amount of hatred, the amount of trolling that has gone on, not just of YouTubers, of a lot of you guys in the comments, a lot of members of the public? Harry, wake up. I know you're dim-witted, but wake up. They've gone and they're seeing this vice president in Colombia. I see in the Daily Mail that she complains that she had 12,000 racist slurs tweets. Okay, I'm assuming this is on Twitter, as they use the word tweet, X, whatever you call it. 12,000, is that all, love? Try being a YouTuber. Try being one of the lovely people in the comments section. Try that one on for size. Look up someone called Sarah Data. Look up someone called Christopher Boozy. Oh, yes, that's right. You invited Meghan to Colombia because you admired the Netflix show so much, didn't you? You thought Meghan was just so fabulous. Why don't you do some research into who the Sugars are? The online terror squad that literally, well, not so much these days. Now, I think you guys will find that Wally has got a video coming up where she's got an archive of all the lovely tweets. She sent me a link to a thread yesterday. In fact, I'll put a link in the description of this video and you can go and read the disgusting things that the terror squad, the Sugars, said about our Princess of Wales. And that was before she was diagnosed with cancer. After the cancer, remember all that? Harry, are you going to talk about any of that? And he has the unmitigated gall. I mean, there's no other word for it. Everyone knows we had riots in the UK that were stoked up by various online things. Don't you dare, Harry, don't you dare go there and start likening that in any way, shape or form when there has been so much misinformation and disinformation put out by your Sugars, your Sussex Squad. Denounce the Sussex Squad. Denounce the things that happened to the Princess of Wales and their children. Have you actually looked, or are you too busy, I don't know, doing something else, Harry? So don't talk about Southport and saying things like, oh, it happens online and then immediately, minutes later, there's violence on the streets. No. What happened in Southport and subsequent riots, the way I see it, was a slow burn. And that was a trip switch that tripped something off. It's issues that have been going on for a very, very long time. Also stoked up by social media, sometimes misinformation, sometimes disinformation, but it didn't all happen in minutes. There was a build up to that, and you, Harry Windsor, have played your part in this. Secondly, who are you representing? Who elected you? You're not representing the royal family. I'm certain you weren't asked by the Foreign Office to do this tour. Who are you representing? Why are you there? Why does anybody care what you think? It's all about Meghan though, isn't it? The whole thing's all about Meghan. Yes, I've been watching the clips of her pushing him out of the way and Meghan's got to be at the front. I did actually like the outfit that she wore when she arrived. Not so sure about the subsequent outfit. But I've seen two more outfits. One, she was sitting down, so I couldn't really tell if the trousers went all the way to the ground or even if they were trousers. But what she looks like is irrelevant. It's irrelevant, actually. I'll try and dig it out because the Daily Mail have a lot of articles, but there's one particular article. And if you go to the comments section, I don't know if any of you guys comment on the Daily Mail. It's absolutely hilarious because the top comments are like, oh, I've done some gardening today and I think I might do some cooking this afternoon, followed by hundreds of replies of people saying, oh, gardening, yes, I'm trying to get rid of some flies on my roses. The leaves have gone green, but the roses themselves are all right. And it's hilarious that basically the readership of the Daily Mail are making the point, they're not talking about Meghan, they don't care. Well, I am here to talk about the shenanigans that they get up to, because where I came in was pretty much when Christopher Boozy was kicking off left, right and centre and bullying and saying terrible things by his own admission. Now, coming back to the Netflix thing, everyone remember Shallon Lester? and she was going to sue Christopher Boozy. Well, firstly, I think she would have done better if she was going to sue anybody to sue Meghan and Harry, because they had the editorial control. Boozy was just a guest on their show. Secondly, Boozy went on and said he'd never heard of Shallon Lester before, and I believe him. I know who he was talking about on that documentary. I know exactly who he was talking about. He was talking about Murky, Taz, and of course Wally. The Duchess of Sussex's name was blared out there, blared, pardon the pun, Blair, for all to see. It wasn't blurred at all. It was right there. Graham went, whoa, 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 pause. Did I just see the Duchess of Sussex's name? I think Meghan Mole's, one of Meghan Mole's tweets was there, but that had been blurred out. Remember all that, Harry? No wonder Meghan doesn't want to talk about the Netflix show, because apparently she wasn't happy that the VP mentioned the Netflix show. I bet. Because their biggest downfall was having that man star on their show. That was their biggest mistake ever. Now, let's come to the titles, shall we, and talk about that a bit. I would implore the royal family, implore them to remove the Prince title. It is within the grasp of the monarch. I have looked up peerages, not to do with royal family, just generally. If you Google, in fact, I'll put a link in the description to this one as well, because I think it's important. Lady C is quite correct. You cannot just remove a peerage, which apparently is what they are. And I didn't know this before, you know. So, I mean, titles, it's a whole other legal set itself. And it's referring to just anybody else who gets a peerage, it's got to be an act of Parliament to remove it. But Harry, be careful, because the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom now is the Labour Party. And traditionally, although Keir Starmer obviously does like and respect the royal family, and it varies in the Labour Party, generally speaking, when it comes to the very suggestion of removing titles, Harry, it's the Labour Party. Conservative Party are going to be the ones that will protect you. And I think he's got a bit of an overwhelming majority at the moment. And I think he's probably going up to Balmoral to spend some time with the family. Possibly next week. I'm sure the press will let us know. And that's the moment that you guys and I will all know that that Balmoral summit is happening. I know there's a lot of suspicion that the king gives in to darling boy Harry. I know there is that suspicion. And I share some of that suspicion with you as well. But he was the Prince of Wales for 70 years. So I think 70 odd years. He's not stupid. They must have been overwhelmed. I think a great starting point would be for them to remove the Prince title. Just remove it. And he could do it very, very eloquently by saying, I'm so proud of my darling boy Harry, and that he wanted to work away from the royal family, and he wanted to shed the shackles of being a working royal. Therefore, I am gifting him his wish. I am granting it, and I am removing his Prince title to set him free. That's how you can do it, Charles. It would be an act of kindness. Then all other things, I believe, will follow. Now, yes, people say, whether he's got to ask this permission there, Commonwealth countries. I don't know enough about the law about that. But they're not going to fight it. It's not like it's an issue that affects common people, is it? Like us, our food bills, our heating, energy crisis. It's not that sort of, oh, Harry just lost his dukedom. You know, who gives a toss, really? Anyone on the street, homeless people? Hello, do you give a toss if Harry's a duke or not? No, not really. Couldn't care less. Not really a vote loser. Not really. Well, it might be a vote winner. Mind you, they've just had an election. But I mean a sort of a hypothetical vote of the royal family. I think Charles should express it that way, that it is setting Harry free. Cutting him loose is another way of putting it. It would send a very clear and direct message, and I implore the royal family, please do that part, and the rest will follow, believe me. Because people, the royal family, you see, they move very, very slowly, very cautiously, and rightly so. But this has been going on for years. A lot of you in the comments have said they should have removed the titles when they left the royal family. I agree. Or at the very latest, they were given a year. Our late Majesty gave them a year to think about this and to change their minds. And they said, no, we're not coming back. So that would have been a good point to remove the titles. I think because world headlines would reverberate. If they removed the prince, that would be, whoa, that would be a big message. Right? Harry's free. He's free. He can do what he likes from now on. He is no longer a prince. And Meghan, if Parliament, and let's say Commonwealth realms, not all the Commonwealth countries, I think Lady C said it was the Commonwealth realms, I don't know, I really don't know, they would think, well, let's take the dukedom. And if they did take the dukedom and the barony and etc., she couldn't call herself Princess Meghan. Well, she probably would anyway, but she'd be even more of a laughing stock than usual. I think they both look very tense. Her rictus grin is off the scale on this tour from what I can see. Looks to me like they're tolerating each other. I mean, Harry, pull yourself out of it. Get out of it. Because I think he is going to lose the Prince title. Well, we'll see. We shall see. I wouldn't mind betting that there's going to be a lot of pressure on the King to deal with this situation. A lot of pressure. Let's wait and see. I'd like to hear Meghan speak Spanish. Come on, she's fluent in it. I've been trying to learn Spanish for 15 años and I'm still struggling with it. Really? So, come on, Meghan. I mean, how dare he even mention the Southport riots? How dare he even liken that? No one's, I don't think, even threatened to kill Meghan and Harry. Talk about this is really trying to suppress people's free speech, which I believe will be unsuccessful. For a start, Colombia, does it hold great influence in the world online? I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe. It's not exactly Silicon Valley. From what I understand, that's not the major currency in their country. So, I mean, if he was having meetings, let's say, with Bill Gates and a load of bigwigs in Silicon Valley, and you suddenly started seeing him hanging out with Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and Bezos and people like that. I mean, yeah, he has kind of hung out with Bezos before, but Bezos was inching away on the photographs. Then I think we would be worried. I think we would all be worried. But being in Colombia with the vice president, I don't think so. They are just so determined to try and shut people down. He talks about misinformation and disinformation. What a joke. I mean, okay, let's talk about some misinformation and disinformation, shall we, for a minute? I mean, I don't personally care, but a lot of people ask, how old is Meghan? Let's start there. Let's talk about Birkenhead when we're talking about misinformation and disinformation. I mean, it's a fact. It slipped. It went all over the place. Personally, again, I'm not that bothered, but you are in the line of succession, your children are in the line of succession, and a lot of people are bothered. And a lot of people have been crushed and silenced and demonetised and thrown off YouTube and other platforms for daring to go, what the hell happened there at Birkenhead? How's that for disinformation and misinformation, Harry? Or what you mean by misinformation and disinformation? Is that just shit you don't like to hear? Because, oh my God, if you want to see stuff that you don't want to hear, why don't you look up the names of a lot of the YouTubers on Twitter and see the trolling that goes on your behalf? Oh, that'd be tasty, wouldn't it? Do you want to tackle that, Harry? No, probably not. Why don't you denounce them? That's an open-ended question and a great place to leave this video. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions. And let's keep everything crossed and pray that the King has the sense to remove the Prince title, as always.